Folks, we need to talk about Myanmar. Specifically, we need to talk about the horrific plight of the Rohingya people, a Muslim minority group who have been subjected to unspeakable violence and persecution at the hands of the Myanmar military. I mean, we're talking about a level of brutality that the United Nations itself has called ethnic cleansing and a possible genocide. Let that sink in for a moment. Genocide in the 21st century. We can't just sit back and pretend this isn't happening. We need to shine a light on this crisis and demand action. Look, the Myanmar military has been allowed to act with impunity for far too long. It's time for the rest of the world to step up and say enough is enough. We need to hit them where it hurts, their wallets and their pride. Governments around the world should impose targeted sanctions against the military leaders responsible for these atrocities. And I'm not talking about a slap on the wrist, folks. I'm talking about freezing assets, travel bans, the works. Make it clear that their actions have consequences. We also need to ramp up diplomatic pressure on the Myanmar government. They need to know that the world is watching and that they will be held accountable for their crimes. The Rohingya people are living in desperate conditions. They've been driven from their homes, their villages burned to the ground. They're living in overcrowded refugee camps, often without access to basic necessities like food, water, and medical care. This is a humanitarian catastrophe, and the international community has a moral obligation to help. We need to massively increase humanitarian aid to Rohingya refugees, both inside Myanmar and in neighboring countries like Bangladesh. And it's not enough to just throw money at the problem. We need to make sure that aid is reaching those who need it most, without interference from the Myanmar government. Listen, what's happening to the Rohingya is not just a tragedy, it's a crime against humanity. And those responsible need to be held accountable. We need to fully support international legal actions, such as those being taken by the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court. These courts have the power to investigate the crimes committed against the Rohingya and to bring those responsible to justice. It won't be easy, folks. These things take time, and there will be roadblocks along the way, but we cannot allow impunity to stand. Justice must be served. Chapter 4. Finding Refuge. Support for Rohingya refugees. Imagine being forced to flee your home, to leave everything you know and love behind, to travel for days, weeks, even months, just to find safety. That's the reality for hundreds of thousands of Rohingya refugees. They've shown incredible resilience in the face of unimaginable hardship, but they can't do it alone. Countries around the world need to step up and offer asylum and support to these refugees. And I'm not just talking about temporary measures. We need long-term plans for resettlement and integration. We need to give these people a chance to rebuild their lives in safety and dignity. Chapter 5. Spreading the word, awareness and advocacy. One of the biggest challenges facing the Rohingya is the deafening silence from the rest of the world. Most people have no idea what's happening to them, and that's why awareness is so crucial. We need to use every tool at our disposal to shine a light on this crisis. Talk about it with your friends and family. Share information on social media. Write to your elected officials. Demand that they take action. Because the more people who know about this issue, the more pressure we can put on those in power to do something about it. Chapter 6. Talking it out, diplomatic solutions. Look, I know what you're thinking. Diplomacy? With a government that's actively engaged in ethnic cleansing, are we really that naive? And believe me, I get it. But the truth is, there's no easy solution here. Military intervention is off the table for a whole host of reasons. So what's left? Well, we have to at least try to find a peaceful resolution. That means bringing all the stakeholders to the table: the Myanmar government, Rohingya representatives, and international mediators. It won't be easy, and there's no guarantee of success, but we owe it to the Rohingya people to at least try. Chapter 7. Boots on the ground. Protection and monitoring. Right now, the Rohingya people are incredibly vulnerable. They're living in fear, and with good reason. They've been subjected to horrific violence, and there's no guarantee that it won't happen again. That's why we need to seriously consider deploying international peacekeeping forces or monitoring missions to the region. These forces could help to protect Rohingya communities from further violence and ensure that human rights are being respected. I know, deploying troops is always a controversial topic. But in this case, it might be the only way to prevent further bloodshed. Outro: a call to action. We've covered a lot of ground today, but the message is simple. We cannot stand idly by while the Rohingya people suffer. This is a defining moment for our humanity. We can choose to look away, to pretend we don't see their pain, or we can choose to act, to raise our voices and demand justice. Share this video. Talk to your friends and family. Donate to organizations working to help the Rohingya. Because even small actions can make a big difference. The Rohingya people are counting on us. Let's not let them down.